Crafting items through the forge is, alongside with fighting badass dragons, the desired way to acquire items to gear up your units with. But how to manage your precious resources in a way that will give you an optimal chance to gain good and usable items for your long journey towards millions of waves. And now to begin with, there are 3 different tier items you can craft. And those are the S tier items, the L tier items, and the E tier items. E tier being the highest and the most endgamist tier item there is. You can either use pink dust to craft S or L tier items, or use red dust to craft L or E tier items. And for the sake of clarity, when I say dust, it means stone, because it looks like a dust, okay? And now to put it simply, the recommended tiers to craft is using pink dust to craft L tier items and red dust to craft E tier items, and this cuts our crafting options to half. And the reason for that is that L and E tier items are what you are really looking for. They both have potential to be that endgame gear you're going to be needing in your millions and millions of waves to come, and that is what you should be aiming for because of that very reason. And while it might sound tempting to craft S tier items first because of their cheaper cost, you will get these kind of as a byproduct when you start killing dragons of level Sin and above, so there's actually no need to use your precious dust to create those kind of items. The same applies to not crafting L items with red dust, because you're already crafting them with the pink dust, so that precious, scarce, hard to get red dust should go to craft the best tier item there is, which is the E tier items. And so now that we have figured out what tier items we should be crafting, the question that remains is, should we craft weapons or accessories, or does that even matter? And the simplified answer to that question is that you should be crafting accessories first. Why? Well, because accessories can fit on any hero there is. So if you get an item with good rolls, you can put it on a hero that can benefit from those rolls, those lines. Whereas, for example, if you craft a hammer, there's only a limited amount of heroes you can put it on. Now, it would be really shame to get an item with amazing lines, but no hero in your build that can utilize it. For example, if this item was an accessory, it would be a super good item for Giants or Edward. And that is why crafting accessories first will increase the chance for you to gain usable items for your heroes. And dust is a limited resource, so try using it in an optimal way if you can. And once you have gained a decent amount of accessories you can actually use in your build on your heroes, you can start crafting weapons as well. And then you can just kind of balance between both of them, depending on what you feel like you need at the moment. And this method applies to both L and E tier items. So for both, craft accessory first and then switch to crafting weapons as well once you have enough decent accessories for your heroes. The best way to acquire a lot of pink dust is actually through your Orc Workers, and now the more and more Orc colonies you conquer in the third world map will increase the chance of your Orc Workers mining B and A tier dust for you. And these can in turn be turned into pink dust through the forge. And once you have done all the Orc colonies, you will get enough pink dust to craft a couple of legendary tier items per day, provided you keep the game on and running. And now one very important thing to note is that upgrading and leveling up your Orc Workers does not increase the chance of them to mine dust or crystal for you. This only increases the amount of gold they will mine for you. The only way to increase those chances is to capture more and more Orc colonies. And another source for pink dust is obviously to break down the S tier items you gain from hunting dragons, and while this is a lot slower and more manual requiring method, it does add up to some extra items eventually, so just keep breaking down the shit that you get. And now gaining red dust is a much slower process, and your only source for it is really just to break down the bad L and E tier items you either craft or gain from the dragons. And now remember that crafting is a lot of randomness. Now, getting a good items might take a good while. The vast majority of items I have ever crafted myself has become dust. That's just reality, that's just how it goes. And progress does not happen overnight, but as long as you just keep on doing it, you will eventually get the items that you need, and one day you will realize you have your decent setup ready and set to go. And now if you have any questions regarding to this, feel free to drop a comment down below. And for the next, I recommend you to watch this video over here. I thank you very much for watching this one, and see you next time, my friends. Stay safe. Goodbye.